Welcome to another episode of Sparks and Blues, the podcast that delves into triumphs, challenges, and transformative moments that shape our personal and professional journeys. Today, we are thrilled to bring you an episode packed with inspiration and practical insights as we discuss the topic, achieving and sustaining career growth, the sparks and the blues involved. Our guest today is the Director of Sales at Smarthealth HMO, in person of Mr. Ime Cosmas. Mr. Cosmas is a seasoned professional with over 15 years experience, spanning key account management strategies, business development, and healthcare systems implementations. With a wealth of experience and knowledge and a proven track record of success, Mr. Cosmas brings invaluable perspectives on what it truly takes to grow, adapt, and excel in today's competitive landscape. In this episode, we'll explore the blues that can make or break a career and the transformative sparks that light the path forward. So whether you are climbing the corporate ladder or redefining your professional journey, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. Let us dive in with Mr. Cosmas on the sparks and blues involved in achieving and sustaining career growth. To the studios today, Mr. Cosmas, it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is mine.
Oh yes. So let's just dive in to the questions, and I hope that you will do justice to them. I recall that you joined Smart Health some years ago, and I can see that you rose up to the level of Director of Sales. So are you happy to share with us today your personal career journey and how you achieved this feat in your career?
All right. Thank you so much, Joy, for this opportunity. I always count it a privilege when I'm given this kind of platform, to share the little, I would say little experience I've had over a period of time.
That's not little.
So I've been on this journey for about 17 years.
Oh wow!
And
impressive.
For 17 years of my life, I've basically gone through several stages.
Wow.
And of course, I'll be happy to share some of those with my would-be listeners today. Now, when I started, it wasn't, it's just like what you're talking about now, the blues. It wasn't very, very, very a clear-cut, journey for me, because this isn't what my parent wanted me to do.
Oh, right.
So the actual expectation was that I was going to be a medical doctor.
Oh, really?
or to go into aeronautics, aviation, kind of.
Wow.
But somehow, as fate will have it, the main pillar who was supposed to help me navigate into the medical space now moved on, passed on, and that left me shattered. Oh. So I got into real estate, environmental studies.
Okay.
But because that was the initial plan, the moment I was done with my NYC, the first point of call was to work in a medical outfit. So you see, outfit has turned everything and brought me back.
Yeah.
And since that time till tomorrow, I remain in that space. So for me, and the moment I got to know that I was going to function in this state, I started setting up my clear objections, started having my goals. Where do I see myself? So the first point of call, I remember it was a emergency response center, Critical Rescue International, where I'd gone in as a call center agent. But I got in there, and the very first day of engagement, I saw a table that looked like a supervisor's table or a manager's table. And immediately, because I've worked before, while I was in school, part-time, so I knew some of the management, gimmicks.
You were already sort of exposed to those things,
So when I got in there, I said, I've done like 7 years before I became a graduate. So why would I start
at the bottom of the pyramid?
So 6 months. Because the very first day I got into the job, I saw that table. I said, I'm going to have that table.
Wow. I like that.
I was inspired. And exactly 6 months. I was not just the team lead, I was a manager at that level, and I was leading a team 6 months after. So what I want to say today is what has helped me first is the clear-cut vision, right? I had a vision, and I still have that vision that I'm on the top. Now, being at that level and performance, right?
It's
So
key.
because at that level you're expected to
Definitely.
deliver.
To deliver, yeah.
And in the course of delivering what my expectations were at that level at the emergency response center, somebody was watching. Of course, reports are churned out every now and then, but somebody was watching who happened to be like a talent acquisition,
Manager,
person. Is a very popular person then, and I was spotted.
Do you want to mention the name? Who was that?
Mrs. Hilda.
Oh, Ebo.
Ebo, yeah, she spotted me and said, Cosmos, I think you're doing well. There is need because your customer service skill is almost like a top notch.
Wow.
You've just gotten to this role 6 months, you're a team lead, and now we're looking at your calls, we are monitoring your, because they used to monitor calls
Definitely.
then, and all of a sudden I'm taken out to go and head a customer service department in the parent company, Unique.
Wow.
And at that level, just 6 months, 1 year, less than 2 years, I'm already heading it. Of course, I had to go to trainings,
Definitely.
development and all of this. So that for me, I had that clear-cut vision and I had mentors.
Okay.
I had somebody who inspired me. Oh, you can grow and you can become what you want to be. And again, what helped me again was the mentorship. So I got into that role and I met another person that said, Cosmos, I like the way you even dress. I like the way you speak. I like the confidence in you. I'm going to train you. I'm going to put you through. So at that point, he assisted, he supported me, and I started managing. So imagine someone who had just come into this space and already overseen about 80 corporate clients in customer service. And that was now what that was what now inspired me to start looking up to business development and sales. From being a customer-centric
I can relate,
person
yeah.
because of course you're managing the customers, you're doing well of the referrals.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
they refer business to me. I say, oh, I can close up this business. Why not? If I could bring this business, bring this one, I'm a marketer. Because at that point, as a salesperson, you are entitled
in for
to
money making.
certain perks. You had commission.
Definitely.
You had you had a car to yourself.
Why not?
So you were one of the big boys in the organization.
Definitely.
I remember when I got to that role and they told me I was entitled to a car. Guys, Cosmos is now a big boy. So that inspired me. So of course, another thing that has helped me in the journey would be because there's difference between personal development and professional growth.
Yeah.
So while the personal development focuses on the learnings, the trainings, the seminars, and all of those, the application of those trainings, of those learnings, is now the personal growth, the different experiences. So I had to start training myself. Every opportunity I see, I want to attend a seminar, I want to read a book. So on my phone, even at home, my children know me. I don't do movies. I'm not, but when it comes to CNN, news, all sort of article, documentary, I'm game for it. I want to be informed.
Yeah.
So, and of course, in the course of that also, I grew relationship. Which is key. You won't believe that till now, I have some relationship that started as far as 17 years ago, and they are still giving me business opportunities, right? Quite a lot. In fact, we have a platform. As of 17 years ago, we had to come, top senior guys.
Yeah.
And they drafted me in, Cosmos, this was our young guy then, our MDs, our CEOs then. They drafted me. So this was a good guy then. Maybe I'm not that good. But they drafted me in, and I relate with them up till tomorrow. And they give
That's
me
impressive.
So all of this, as shaping my career journey. And of course, like I mentioned, you grow strong relationship, and of course you grow professional relationship too. you delve into so many areas, disassociation. I remember at some point where I worked, I had to have a kind of collaboration with Harvard. My company sponsored that.
Oh, wow.
It was international, sponsorship, and I went through that for 2 years, equal to what you have an MBA today, because the curriculum was just, Harvard standard, and that churned me. And every other organization I've worked, I've had to seek for more knowledge so that I can be good. Now, in my career journey, I would say I've worked in the different or almost all the subsector of the health industry. So I saw myself first in that core medical practice, the emergency response, subsector, then all the way to managed care, which is what I'm still, doing now. Then all the way to telehealth, telemedicine, and of course, again, to technology itself, which is software as a service, which means that a lot of technology that has to do with claims management, how do you manage claims, even in the core insurance, the computer insurance sector, all of those. So I've had that experience because I wanted to.
And I think you've also passed through hospital.
So now you're talking to someone who has had experience across all the. So the only one which I was discussing with a mentor a few months ago. I told her, "Ma'am, I've gone through all of this, but I want to go through the regulatory. I want to be an all-rounder. So if I work in the regulatory, let me even know how they operate. Why do they do what they are doing? What can I change? What can I do? What contribution can I make?" So that has been the journey. It has not ended. We are still going further. And when opportunity like this comes, it gives me the privilege to say, "Oh, this is what we did. This is what we might likely do," and of course to encourage other people.
Wow, that's quite impressive. That sounds, really intense and confirms that, you've put in so much work in the last 17 years and you've been able to cut across different sectors of healthcare, including hospital, which is actually at the crux and at the middle. I quite understand, how one begins to feel when, you've been able to successfully gather some significant experience, and then you want to be involved with the policies. Really, that's where, most successful people really want to get to. And I believe you should be on your way there soon. We never can tell, never say never. I would have asked, a couple of other questions under your career, but you've sort of touched them, even on your own. You've spoken about mentorship, which helped you, which to me is a big deal, because you cannot just be an island and assume that you know it all. You need to constantly check with people that have been there, made the errors, made the mistakes, burn their fingers, and then they'll be able to better direct you. So I'm happy that you had mentors on your way. I'm also happy that on your way you were able to identify your own vision. In a couple of days ago, I was speaking to a crop of guys, and I said to them that a sad employee is a visionless employee. So to be happy as an employee is not just about earning a massive salary or getting a lot of bonuses. If you've got a vision, you would realize that it's difficult for you to be sad. Because when the blues come around and they hit you, you quickly fall back to your vision because you are sure that you are on a journey, you are sure that you have somewhere you're going. And I'm proud and happy that, you spoke about these things, because I was going to ask, but you already sort of spoke about them. And that gives the confirmation that, you've been well put together. And then I think we chose the right guest to sort of inspire our people today. So I'll just go to our next question. This is going to talk about career decisions and growth. So what factors guided your decision when you took new opportunities? Let me expatiate on that. I also had to speak to people recently, and I said to them that if all you ever think of when changing a role or taking on a new role is the salary and the package, then you are sort of, to me, I think I said to them that, for lack of a better word, sounds like a poverty mindset. And it will be difficult to grow out of that, because it's important that you are strategic about changing roles and never to just assume that the biggest thing in a new role is the salary. So that is why I want you to talk to our viewers today and our listeners that what factors actually, you know, supported you or guided you when you had to change roles? Because in this course of 17 years, which you already said, you've moved, to different sectors, different areas, and you've been able to rise now to become the director of sales at Smart Healthcare. So you need to tell us, or I want you to tell us, the factors that guided you all the way up to where you are now.
Okay, so that's a very good question, and I think some of the mistakes that some of us had at the onset was, oh, you're done with your first degree, maybe from the family aspect too. Oh, you go into the labor market, make money. We came up with that mentality. The moment you're done with school, it's time to go and make money. So every opportunity you see, what comes to your mind or to your head is, I'm going to make money. But over time, as you grow into so many roles, so many experiences, you now discover that money or the financial benefit isn't really the main, or is not enough. Now, for me, maybe when I started, I had that kind of mentality too, that, I need to make money because I need to satisfy those who had sent me on certain trainings. I need to, I had a couple of friends, we are now the happening guys too, let's go and hang out. So we had all of those. But as we grow, those priorities change. So I see, for me, what would be my career prospects, right? In the first few years, like I said, but after a while, I started streamlining. What will this offer me in the future? So I want to make a career choice. What is there for me in 2 years? What is there for me in 5 years? What is there for me in 10 years? Or what will that opportunity afford me, in terms of growth, in terms of who I meet? See, I've worked in organizations where I sit back and I tell myself, if I hadn't worked here, I wouldn't have met top decision makers in the country. I mean, I've met some senators, I've met some key
Distinguished
persons across different sectors, banking, telecoms, decision makers. In fact, it was at that point I knew the word KDM, the acronym KDM, key decision makers. So if I'm going to have an opportunity, I'm looking out for the KDMs so that they can make decisions quickly and close up transactions. So I'm looking out for those opportunities. What are the career prospects? Not even because the money will come. Yeah. So again, what has also influenced my choice of career decision would be the environment.
All right.
Which is very, very key. Now, you won't be surprised when you go for an interview and they ask you, so what do you know about us? Of course, you have to do your research.
Definitely.
Before I get into any engagement, I must have done my research. In fact, what I do, I think when I was growing up, so when I see vehicles with brand, I say, I would like to work here, some here, sometime. And it has happened to me. I see some brands, this place. I remember when I got into GTI Shore then, when I see their colors and everything, I'd like to, and I saw myself working there. So because I've studied them, I've done research, the culture is good, they look good.
They look like people I would like to mingle with.
I give you an instance, Joy. There was a time I was coming back from work on my street. This was around 6 p.m. There's a big boy, saw me on the street. I said, Cosmos, come. Where are you coming from? I said, I'm coming from work. Do you work in the bank? You look as if you're just coming out from a bank. No stain, your shirt is still intact. I said, because that's the culture I wanted to belong to. And, and that was it. So the environment, not a place that is toxic, not a place that you have some kind of relationship that will cause you not to deliver, on your role.
That can
you know,
affect you
That can
mentally.
affect you in so many ways. So, those that shaped my decision to then the leadership of that environment you're going into. I'll give you an instance. There's somebody that I respect so much. You may know him, Dr. Oyeneyin.
Yeah.
We started quite as friends, right? Together, some 10, 15, and 17
Many
years
years
ago
ago.
also. And like my there's some fellowship I belong to say shake your neighbor because you don't know if you'll be the next governor. So we became that close. And today we are still in a very good relationship. Now, the leadership of certain places, so I got to work with him. He was now at that leadership level, and I followed suit. Because I'm going to be working with him for the longest of times, because this is somebody you work with. You want somebody that, you look back to, oh, can I share my vision? Can we share vision together? So you get engagement, you look at the leadership of that place, is it worth it? Like one of my big mentors now, TOE, before I even got in there, I already was following him. So when I got in there, it was not unusual for me not to start acting the way he does. For when I go to work at TOE, everything about me in my house is TOE. So I was mentioning it. That's it. Then again, you want to look at finance is important too, even though it might look as if we are not actually there for it, but you have to look at it too.
Yeah. What do you mean by finance? You mean the package?
Compensation,
All right.
The salaries, like you mentioned. I've had some offers sometime, and they tell me. Let me give you an example. So there was a role so many years ago. I was still involved in. So a very good friend in the industry told me, Cosmos, you can do this. But what he now failed to do was he didn't tell me what the salary expectation would be. Because I was in my humble state, I went there, I quoted salary that I thought was my level. But what they were looking for was actually
Something
because
massive.
it determines, a
Yeah.
lot. Oh, is this guy actually
Are you at this state?
like for instance now as director of sales, you won't expect me to come and say I want to earn 200,000.
No, yeah.
So it was at that level at that time, but I didn't know. So I got in only for me after I left. Oh, the guy did well, but does he even know what role this role is? The guy called me and said, Cosmo, what did you talk? Why did you just mention? You should have. I said, but he didn't tell me. So another opportunity came, and I went and I mentioned the figure. And those guys were like, so I've had another opportunity where actually I mentioned the figure and I shared it with my partner and said, mention it, and they didn't argue. I said, wow, so this is how it works. So you look at all of those. I've mentioned now the culture, I've mentioned the leadership, I've mentioned the finance, I've mentioned the environment. So these are some of the things that have shaped me. And I've looked at the opportunity for growth. Like when I mentioned my mentor, she actually gave me that leverage to grow. Were there other guys there? Maybe. Of course there were. But because of one spark, in me, and she catapulted me, and I decided also to grow. So those are the things that have shaped and helped me in making decisions in my career.
That's really nice to know, and I believe our listeners are definitely grabbing some of these things and looking forward to making good use of them. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about challenges. I know that back in the days when most of us were starting off, we used to feel or assume that, oh, I really can't wait to be the boss. I think life is easier at the top. But the moment you arrive at the top, you realize that, while you were down, you had time to play, you had the mental freedom, your brain was had a lot of space, so you could think of whatever you felt like thinking about. But then as soon as you arrived at the top, which was your dream, and you probably paid the price, you worked hard, you've arrived there and you see that, wow, this isn't just what I thought it was. So yeah, how have you been handling setbacks or probably rejections in your career? Have you experienced any of such?
Okay, so challenges are part of life, right? So
I
do
agree.
rejections and setbacks. Now, what now makes it bad is if you have a challenge and you're unable to rise above that challenge to turn it into an opportunity, right? It becomes a sin. It's a no-no, it's unacceptable. So for me, for every challenge, it gives me an opportunity to start thinking, what can I do differently or what could be done to surmount that challenge? Let me give you some of the challenges that I've seen in the course of this journey. So an organization or places you've worked have set objectives.
Yeah.
It could be financial objective, it could be in technology, it could be different, and there are clear-cut communication.
Yeah.
Now you are coming as a support, you're coming as someone who's supposed to live that vision.
Yeah.
Now, do you understand what that vision is? Does the organization take time also to understand how you want to run that vision? So there's a clear case of sometimes communication issues, which is what I've experienced. So I was reading something the other day. There was a task. The manager in charge of the project said, this task must be done this way. We're going to achieve that result. Now, the employee or the one who's supposed to carry out the
Okay,
operations,
yeah.
oh, I can actually do this way and still achieve the result. At the end of the day, we are getting the results, but with different methodology, right? So there must be that clear-cut understanding of the communication. So I've seen that a lot as challenges. So how have I been able to overcome that? Is to be very transparent.
All right.
Honest, transparent communication. Oh, this is what I buy into your, idea. I think it's good, but maybe for the purpose of maybe compliance, for the purpose of aligning with the ideals of the organization, can we do it this way? Maybe at some point we might bring in your good ideas into it so that we can collaborate and deliver results, right? So a lot of time people do not have that clear-cut understanding, and it's a challenge, and it's going to affect performance.
Definitely. You
Definitely.
should.
And again, what I see as a challenge, which has always happened, I think I mentioned it when we were chatting earlier, is change management, transition, leadership transition. In these days of mergers and acquisition, I think virtually everywhere I've worked, maybe it's my luck, at some point, leadership change. It's either the company is going through transition, the company is acquired and new management is coming in, but we still remain. But then, in the course of doing that, if it's not properly done, or something, or the communication is not clearly stated, then it affects how performance is. I remember one of the HMOs I worked with, finding as much as we clamored for this change, but the change now came with an adverse effect against the customers who started, quitting
Exiting.
and exiting and going elsewhere, and it became very unbearable for us to manage. Then another challenge I've seen is conflict. So when there's no clear-cut communication and change mind, there's conflict.
Definitely.
Unhealthy, team dynamics.
Yeah.
You have gossip. You
Yeah.
have this. The environment becomes toxic.
Toxic.
You cannot actually thrive. So as a role, especially when it comes to sales, it has impacts on your role in delivering,
Your target.
your target or your expectations. And this cut across not just sales, into every
Definitely
the
should.
HR, the finance,
Yeah, it
the
should.
brand,
I
the brand
agree.
itself, because
Could be
there's something
affected.
about the public, the brand perception is you.
Definitely.
I have the company I work with. The greatest asset of that organization is the people.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
They even cite it as our greatest asset is
Yeah.
the people. You know them.
A forward-looking organization must say
Say
that.
it is our greatest asset is the people.
Our
So
people.
if the person is not smiling like you're smiling now,
It's
people
the
will come.
situation. Yeah.
So we've
I
been able to
agree.
live above these challenges and see how we can drive up. And it's
Yeah,
helped me a lot.
that's quite a lot because living above challenges in the corporate world is a thing.
Yeah.
And since you've been able to tell us quite a lot that you've seen, obviously for 17 years, definitely rising to the role you are in as a director of sales as well, you must have definitely been through quite a number.
Sure.
And I believe that you have been able to navigate them successfully. And that is why you didn't fall off along the way.
Yeah.
And then you have been able to rise to where you are today. Well done for that one.
Thank you.
So you spoke earlier about professional development when you were talking about your journey. So how important would you like to tell our viewers how important it is for continuous learning, skill building for career growth?
Okay. So I mentioned that those are some of the key factors that helps to shaping your career growth, right? For a successful career person, you must crave for learning. You must crave to know, to seek more knowledge. Now, this helps you to stay innovative because, for instance, what obtained 5 years ago might actually be obsolete now. Now, in this era of AI, artificial intelligence, you agree with me that what happened last year is even so obsolete as of today. So learning, relearning, unbundling, and starting all over again is very, very important because it gives you an opportunity to know more, right? And also, it's like you sharpening your saw. If you don't sharpen your saw, there's no way. I remember there was a place I worked, and some of the stakeholders who were from the old school, right? They were not seeing what I'm not a Gen Z, but
Definitely.
I've delved into what the Gen Z is. So
We have to welcome them in. We have the Gen Alpha coming up.
They are so privileged to me because they are exposed to a lot more information than
I
we
agree.
had when growing up.
I agree,
So
totally.
when I engaged them and I saw
were
myself
so
as
analog.
I saw myself as the Gen Z of that time against those older guys in the system. So when I'm talking, when I'm throwing out ideas and strategies, it's like you could imagine somebody coming to give report, a monthly report, and you are giving me a report on what? What happened to Excel? What happened to pie charts? What happened to
What?
PowerPoint? What happened to all those presentations? Or I'm going for a presentation, a sales speech, and I'm not seeing it on well dotted, well designed PowerPoint. I mean, graphicals. I don't have to have so many words. So education will expose you to all of those. You do things innovatively and uniquely. But if you are not educated, if you are not learning to know, so imagine now a collage of HMOs are invited to come and bid, and you are coming with the analog way of
Mindset.
you can't. And these are some of the, I'll talk about it, one of my experiences when I started early. So I wanted because my blood was hot, I wanted to, so a bank had invited, I got the opportunity, so I'd invited him. I wanted to wow my supervisor. So with my brand new car, I drove to VI and I went there, I made presentation. It was a mess of myself and
Why?
the brand because I didn't know. I just went, I thought I knew that I talked and I left. So my people got to know that, oh, your company came to present. It was only one man that came. My supervisor almost killed me. Cosmos, why didn't you tell us that people called you? I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to hit the millions.
I understand. You didn't know you had to collaborate.
Yeah, I had not been educated on, when you get these opportunities, it's not just about you.
Yeah, it's a
about the
collaborative
whole
effort.
team.
Yeah.
It's about the whole team going, even if it means
Showing up.
showing up and
As a
making that
brand,
presentation.
yeah.
And did I even check my presentation? Did I even check what? But I just knew I went there and we were not engaged. So it's quite important so that you are able to stand at par with people in the industry and
I
outside.
agree.
So it's quite important that we develop ourselves. And in developing yourself, you must take into consideration that there are different levels of development.
Yeah.
While the company might send you for their training and everything,
Trainings,
you yourself. Now there are
self-development.
so many platforms where you can even free.
Yeah.
There are some I do now. I don't want to mention names that I do now. I don't have to pay. Even if I have to pay, it's not something
Not something
too
significant.
significant.
Whereas
Just
they are quite important
a
and you
few
gain a lot.
dollars and
Yeah.
to get the certification. I have a cousin in the UK who got in there. He wasn't in anything healthcare, and today, he's done a few courses and them and all of those, and they are qualified. So it's quite important that learning and development must be part of the journey to success.
Thank you very much for that one. I cannot, overemphasize the importance of that as well. And I believe that what you've said is true and it's quite relevant. It's important that we just keep studying, learning, opening ourselves up to information so that we can be relevant, like you said, and then we can meet up when we, show up. You don't just show up, like you said, the way you showed up for that presentation. So all of these things come together to definitely speak about our career successes. All right. With your role as a director of sales, I know that sales in itself is a strong terrain. It's not for the faint-hearted in any sector. Then rising to that level of being a director means that you are saddled with some massive figures, your budget that you're most likely driving, and then the people managing sales teams is also another effort. So I want to talk to you at this moment about work-life balance. So how have you been able to balance things with regards to succeeding on your role? I know you are also successfully married with children. How are you able to still, show up as a successful husband and father? I also know that you are quite active in church. How are you, and I know you are social. So how are you able to, I've mentioned 4 different areas. If you want me to run them again, your role as a director of sales, parenting, husband to your lovely wife, Ada, and the church, and then we, your friends, and the people that know you, that love you so much. How are you able to stay relevant without some of us thinking, oh, Cosmas no longer reaches out, he's not a director, he's not a big boy, we can't even get him again. How are you able to ensure that everybody is fine, you are happy, you are meeting up with your figures, and yes, work-life balance. Talk to our viewers about that.
Okay, so one of the disadvantages or one of the challenges I didn't mention before is while traversing the career path, you discover that what is supposed to be your personal life is still part of your work life.
All right.
So your work life somehow is your personal life if you're not careful.
Okay.
Right. So some organizations I've worked in, I saw myself not really having that time to say, oh, this, I didn't know what was holiday, what was vacation. I used to hear vacation, outside. People, oh, I'm going for vacation. I'm like, what is vacation? And I remember there was a time on Saturday, I had locked myself in one of my rooms and I was attending to call, office calls, queries, and all of those. There was a very big emergency at the hospital, and I needed to attend to it keenly. And one of my girls walked in, and I chased quick, and my wife heard. And after the whole scenario, she came to me and said, I think it's time I called your MD. I need to be very sure that you are a family man or your life is very dependent on this. So I'm driving, my AirPod, my earpiece is on me. I'm still attending to queries. I'm attending to work things. I get back home, but over the years, I had to consciously and intentionally try to separate. So she has been a very major push. I give her the credit. You can't be working every hour.
Yeah.
You have to create, let's go out, let's hang out. Joy, you won't believe that I've only been to the cinema with my family once or twice in my whole life.
Wow.
It's always been work. So at times we try to compensate. Don't know, you guys, even when I go out, my spirit is still, I'm just sitting there, they are playing, I'm thinking, money,
Targets. Getting back to someone.
So you can imagine before this interview, I already run out. I'm trying to,
get back to someone.
So it became part of me. So I had to intentionally say, no, this is not good for me.
Take it down.
There must be a time I had to tone it, try to cut boundaries. Oh, I'm not engaged in, spiritual, religious organization where it's still part of work, but then that work gives me some sort of fulfillment because I'm meeting people's spiritual, physical, and medical needs. A lot of times we go for outreach, but it's not because I'm working at work, but because I'm doing it, because I want to do it. So I had to clearly, define
all of that.
To rest. I don't sleep that much.
Yeah.
I don't sleep that much.
You can't definitely sleep that much.
Like someone told me earlier today, were you able to sleep? I said, well, up to 7 hours. I said, which man in Lagos sleeps 7 hours? If I do, I know it's not healthy. If I do 4 or 5 hours a day, I'm okay. No, but then it's something that
if you can get 7 hours,
it's something that one has to.
And proud.
Yeah, it's something that one has to intentionally work out. I may not say I'm very good at that, but then I'm trying as much to balance.
It's a work in progress. All right. Yeah. All right. That's fair enough. I know it's not so easy, but the fact that you embrace it, the fact that you are aware is a step in the right direction. Exactly. And I believe that with time, you can definitely achieve it.
And again, what my wife has done is to push me into a lot of wellness, exercises, gym. Because
you look fit, super fit, by the way.
At that level, you see, like at some point, my job, apart from the fact that we go into the field, I was kind of becoming sedentary. So I'm in the vehicle, my driver is driving me, I'm at work, we are in a series of meetings, sitting down. So at some point, so a driver gets to a point, I say, go. I'll start trekking from a very long distance, and at 20 minutes, I'm walking home.
I had to start doing that as well.
So it helps me quite a lot.
I agree. It's a strategy. I had to imbibe that myself because it's just not easy. Exactly. And I heard you mention being lonely at the top. Do you want to talk about that?
So at that, you mentioned it gets to a point. So you have friends, you cannot meet them again because you are immersed in work. And some people have called me and said, this guy is becoming proud. You don't even get to see your friends again. You don't talk to your friends. You don't make calls. It's not that we don't want to make calls. So when that guy signed that song, Lonely at the Top, it kind of resonates.
It's so real.
There's a level you get to, all your focus is on remaining at that level. And you're trying to innovate.
It's a lot of work.
You're trying to innovate to remain there. Because once you drop, those are the same friends out there. Oh, he got there and you drop. So do you want to drop?
No.
Of course, there are sometimes you have to apologize. You have to make up time. Oh, my friends.
Find the balance, basically. Thank God for technology now.
Exactly.
So, that's it. That's fine. So thank you very much. It's been a great time chatting with you on all of these conversations and, with your experience. I believe, a lot of our viewers are going to be quite inspired. I quite appreciate your honest feedback, your openness
you.
in sharing your story. And, Sparks and Blues, which I had already briefed, but just for the purpose of this podcast, I usually like to then talk a bit about it. So we are basically set up to enable us share real life stories from professionals like you who are succeeding in their chosen fields, so that our viewers can learn, because yes, we know information is all over the place. However, it's a different ball game where you hear it from real people and then it's real life. It can be tracked, it can be confirmed, and all of those things. We are not just churning out this podcast for the social media buzz, or what's the word they say these days, skits and all of those things.
Yeah.
No,
Or content.
Content. We are doing this to deliberately reach out, because a lot of people are somewhat confused, not sure, especially the youths, the younger ones. You see people these days coming up from WAEC levels, GCSE levels, and you hear things like, I think I want to become an influencer. I think I want to become a content creator, and all of those kinds of things. Yes, those things are there, but then not everybody would end up to becoming a Davido. How many of those are we going to have? So we still find out that a lot of people struggle in this entertainment space and they sort of lose it. So we are also trying to use this podcast to reach out to people, parents in particular, that as your kids, your worlds begin to grow, you can, through this podcast, through the information we are bringing out, direct your kids to encourage them that there are people that are still succeeding. There's still a life in career.
Yeah.
Many years ago when we were younger, our parents had careers. I mean, corporate careers, they had proper jobs.
Yeah.
Some of my solo podcasts I did still on this channel where I had to speak about the buzz. I'm an entrepreneur. What does that really mean? Are you a dressmaker? Do you run a hospital? Are you producing bottled water? What are you doing? It's not just enough to, sit out there and be indirectly confused but be unaware. That is what we are trying to clear out with the Sparks and Blues. And I'm grateful to you for coming down today, to help us in that direction. So we have two more critical things. Usually when our guests come in, the first one is what I'm going to do now. We allow you a couple of seconds to talk about your brand and let the viewers know what you do, what you sell, and then how they can reach out to you, your social handles, if they want to contact your organization or contact you for more business. So that is the time. So you can talk to them about Smarthealth.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Rachel, for this opportunity. As the Director of Sales for Smarthealth, I'm saddled with the responsibility of leadership, creating strategic platforms for enhancing our brand. So Smarthealth, in the last 1 decade, has been one of the HMOs that have provided managed care, to Nigerians across different strata. We've got healthcare plans that affordable, and people can actually access and get plans that can meet their healthcare needs. And again, we are not just casting stone when it comes to our healthcare plans. We can tailor make. That is hybrid plan. We can look at your pocket. We can look at your finances and say, okay, come, let's do something that will be beneficial to every staff, and if it's an individual. And one thing that has stood us out is our ability to meet the claims obligation. Now, if there's something our providers, one of our major stakeholders will say about us is the speed at which we are able to meet that obligation. So you send us claim. I know we are gravitating towards an era where we say, within 1 week, within 2 weeks, we're able to pay claims. We are getting to that point.
That's impressive.
At that point. So we don't owe providers. I remember there was a time I went to a conversation and one of the stakeholders said, oh, you guys, let us check the record. And I said, oh, my claims are paid. And they made a call, oh, they paid. They are clean and clear. So it gives me joy to mention that Smarthealth, Smart HMO, in short, is one brand that you want to reckon with for your corporate, plans, individual. And we've gone also to taking care of geriatrics. And another area we ventured into is a worksite clinic.
Okay.
We have a couple of worksite clinics where we manage, just an intermediary, facility where if there's an emergency on site, what happens at that point before people are transported to a full-fledged facility for further engagement or treatment. So we do all of this, and you can check us out, smarthealthcare.com on our website. From there you can be led to different social. We are all available on all the social.
You can also tell them your own handles.
Okay.
You're on LinkedIn?
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn, we are on IG, we are on, I'm not sure we're on TikTok.
Twitter?
Twitter, we are on Facebook. So once you log in, type in Smart Health,
you pop up.
Then, of course, you do your search engine, Smart Health, it will always pop up.
All right.
And then we have a very sophisticated team, doctors, like I always tell people, so it's not just about abdicating responsibility to the healthcare providers. A good HMO will have a unit that case manages, event alongside the health provider. So that we know if a patient goes into a facility, is the patient getting the best of care? So we follow up. So that collaboration between the HMO or the managed care system and the provider is top notch. I remember there was a time we had a case and some of the top-notch guy in the company called me and said, "Oh, I'm not getting the best from this provider." It was quite late in the night and I had to swing into action and fix that person. And we sustained that business. It was with
that's impressive.
Wamco. So it's something that we don't joke with customer related issues. We are customer centric. Everybody must have.
That's good to know. So you can reach out to Ime Cosmas on LinkedIn if you are looking at contacting Smart Care, Healthcare. You can also, like you said, go to their website, type in their name on the search engine, and then you can, through that, reach all their other social media handles to speak further to them if you will be interested in discussing their products and their services. Thank you very much for that one. So yes, because you have come to Sparks and Blues today, and what we stand for, Sparks, are those things that really make you happy.
Yeah.
Great things, impressive information, just like the way you're having a successful career. So you're happy and your career is definitely giving you some sparks. Then blues are those things that have troubled you, stress us, and all of those things. So yes, for this topic, we are then going to ask you the final question. So can you talk to us and our viewers today about the sparks and blues that you have been involved with regards to deciding to grow your career and to sustain it? The sparks and blues that you have experienced on your journey in growing and sustaining your career.
Okay, so I'm looking at the sparks now. Just like I mentioned, challenges they are to make me grow.
Yeah.
So the blues, I wouldn't say are that much because
Lucky you.
Yeah, so I try not to allow those things that would. I know at some point I've had situations where I've gone to some organization to work and I looked at myself, why am I here? I must have contributed. After a while, I said to myself, the moment I start having that feeling, it's time to move on.
It's time to walk.
It's time to move on. But I think this spark in the career has made me to propel much further. I'll give you an example, a story, true life story. So many years back, I didn't even know I did something. Somebody must have called in or came into our brand that time and met me. It was a very serious case with a man's child. And it was a case of, if it was not well handled, it would have turned to fatality. And I didn't know I did something, but I did something. So 10 years down the line, I remember this vividly. We had a bid in one of the financial sector, and I sent in. And the man, if I had 2 occasions, the man saw my name on the proposal and said, this is Cosmos. And they sent, we were even out. We heard the information very late.
Late.
And I sent it, and I was invited,
Wow.
right? And we got that engagement, one of the banks. And the man told me, do you remember me? I said, as I'm trying to say, my son was almost dead, but you did something. You stepped in, and the providers were able to do the extraordinary, and that guy was alive. So that was a major spark for me to,
On your journey.
to continue. And again, there was something again I did, which I never knew I did, right? Somebody saw my proposal. This one is even more careful. And the lady, the HR, says, Cosmos is on this, working here now. So those are some of the feedbacks that helps me, oh, you did something. And when I tell myself I'm in the healthcare space since yesterday and I'll still be there tomorrow, is because I've gotten feedback of certain service delivery, certain things you did that has helped people to have their life to live
back.
and they are happy, And of course, in so many ways, when it comes to human relationship too, I've got a lot of wonderful colleagues, younger ones who I see today. If I mention some of their names, I see today, I have a guy now who is crossing the whole continent, and even I think today is in the US. He was under me as my mentee. So it gives me joy.
Yeah, which is
I'm
the spark.
excited, to see this guy. I see one of the girls when we're in wellness, she's doing pretty well. I see her, taking pictures. She's a woman leader in LBS right now. Young girl. I see a couple of ones who are doing stuff. And when they look back, some of them call me daddy. I'm not that old. When they call me daddy and I'm excited, it gives me joy because I enjoy doing that. I'm not just in the workplace because I want to fulfill target.
Yeah.
I also want to impact on people.
People's
So there was this
progress.
particular lady who, every now and then I'm looking at the proposal. Oh, you have to dot this. I don't want to see. There are fonts. Every company has a Lego
Definitely.
font. Everybody has a
Official fonts.
Lego color. Watch your font, watch your color, watch the font size. This guy is stressing me. A year or two later, after she left us, she came to my office with a bottle of wine. I said, Cosmo, those things you were telling me, I didn't understand. Now I'm a supervisor to my new engagement.
Wow.
Now I'm now seeing. So that gave me excitement. That gave me joy. That was a major spark. So that people can come back and give me feedback. I say, oh, it was looking as if you were harsh at that point. But then it was a learning curve. It was a learning. So I said, this is what I was trying to say. So the blues, it comes up once in a while, but then
Since the sparks are more, you're able to tone it down.
Turn it
That's beautiful. That's a job well done to you, Cosmas. So yes, and I tell people as well that the best way to manage your blues, because they would come, especially when you have been opportune to rise to the top, you need to get used to the blues. But the best way to manage them is to ensure that your jar of sparks should be constantly filled up.
Yeah.
So that they can forever dilute the blues.
Exactly.
That is just what you've said.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for your time today,
Thank you.
Mr. Cosmas. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
And we're happy that your real life stories, your experiences have been superb, and they've been quite significant in inspiring our viewers and our audience. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.